Okay, so I only have one drink. I don't remember much about how we left. I have little memories of the trip back to MGM. He had a friend in the back seat and they were both fondling me. It flashes to me in a bathtub, and a few times having sex with him or someone. I always struggle to remember if the other guy came to, and I woke up with cum on my face. I know he slipped me something because I remember the girl warning me about Xanax and saying people call them panty droppers. And once this experience happened, uh, he asked if I wanted to stay with him another night, and he tries to get me to sleep with him sober, but I'm unwilling. And he takes me to the bus station. Of course, he stiffs me on what he agreed to. I try to argue, but he comes, opens my door, and throws me out on the pavement. I had exactly enough to get home. This is why she stole from him. Okay, he was looking for her because she stole from him. She wrote herself a $5,000 check. That's why. And then here I am. I had the same thing happen to me, and then I sell her out. I don't know if he ever found her. We never talked. She and I never talked again. Um, so yeah, that is 2010 actually. So this is a year before the termination of pregnancy. Okay. So then we get into, I go some years and I'm talking about all the fucking shit that I experienced living with him off and on. Then I speak on, so during the time living with Jeremiah's dad, um, we weren't always like dating. So I would go do my thing, he'd go do his thing. I had a particular evening where I met this guy. He said his name was Blessing. The only reason I'm saying his name is because it's not a usual name, but it's what I found out is that a lot of African people come through. I don't mean to say African. I don't know what specific country you're coming from Africa. So I just use it's just like if I were to say American instead of Ohioan. That's what I mean when I say African. But a lot of people come through with that name. So he met me and he told me that he had seen me, a few times, and he was able to break down what I was wearing, right? Like when I saw you that time, you were wearing your hair like this and you're wearing this outfit, and then that's the next time I saw you, and I found that to be so attractive. So I decided I'm gonna have a one night stand with this guy. I don't even remember how old I was at the time, but we go to his dorm and we're getting into the act, and I guess he had a girlfriend or something. She comes through, and when I look over, motherfucker is recording me. Okay. Um, you know, so I tried to delete it. I don't know if I was successful or not, you know. Uh, and it almost looked like it looked like a live stream or like some kind of I don't know, like chat room or something. I can't tell you what it was, but that's what it looked like. Okay. So then, um, he only lived like a few moments away from McDonald's. So when I left, I parked in the McDonald's parking lot. And so here his girl and him come up. And I just remember being like, oh my God, you are not a blessing. And just like driving off, right? So that happened too. So then I get into the assault with Natanya's dad. I'm not going to read that one in detail. I don't want to read that one particular in detail. Okay, so but I am going to read about, because remember I met Natanya's dad at the same time that I was hanging with Saint Nick and Green. And when I first started hanging out with Green, I hadn't completely separated from Saint Nick. So I mentioned that Saint Nick is offering me Coke. I decline over and over until one day I'm craving Coke and I ask for it, and he gives it to me unlimited for about 8 months, but then he starts asking for sexual favors. I never do them. He starts giving me less, so I start hanging with members of his crew to get it. This is a really good move because I get linked up with this guy that buys nothing but 8-balls. Okay, and he wants to sleep with me, but he's respectful about me turning him down and still shares with me. And he's married anyway, so he doesn't trip. I'm running around with a group of men. Everywhere I go, I'm attached to Green. Okay, and he tries his hand at pimping me and sells me for $80 to his cousin. I forgot all about this. So actually, this selling sex in exchange for money happened 3 times then, because I completely forgot about this. But he's 50 years old, but he's enamored with me, and I just cut my hair in a fade. And when I'm asked why, my response is, niggas want to be treated like queens, so I cut my hair and you can call me king. And they like that. I rock my natural nails, and they called me the most low maintenance, high maintenance woman, and they love it. They're so impressed. So the night I'm supposed to sleep with him, we snort coke, we drink, we smoke, the usual. But I ask for a perk. I snort it up, and I wake up to him getting dressed. That's all I remember. I follow Green outside, and I see his friends getting in a car, but they weren't there when this all started. I hand Green the money because I'm in a dress with no bra and panties. It was a purple, blue, and pink dress. It was an absolutely adorable dress. And I pass out again, and I wake up in the parking lot of Rachel's. And when I ask for my money, he hands me $20. I ask him what happened to the rest of the money, and he says he spent it at Rachel's. We get into a fist fight, and I punch his head into the seatbelt. Fight over. I managed to get home, not without first passing out in the McDonald's drive-thru. And it was by the grace of God that I did not get arrested that night, because I could not stay awake as I was driving home. Like, I really could have crashed. So I pass out for 48 hours. And when I ask what's given to me, he says it was a Seroquel, not a perk. He said he thought I knew. No, I didn't know. I was offered a perk. I asked for a perk, and they served me Seroquel, and I didn't even notice. I am livid, and I run to Saint Nick, and I tell him what happened. All the while, I'm saying it's my fault. I snorted that pill. This was my fault. His sister is there. She's much older. She's like in her 50s, and she asks Saint Nick to leave the room and tells it to me straight. Yo, they knew what you were taking. It doesn't matter if you took it or not. You will never know what happened to you that night. You were raped. So I began to think back to the other incidents in my life. I think back to Natanya's dad. I think back to the guy in the MGM. I think back to high school. Okay. I just try to put it out of my mind because I don't understand how I've been assaulted so many times. It is what it is, and I move on. And so this is when I get into reading the Bible and asking for my enemies to be revealed, because the actual setup was that assault. Okay, and so he took whatever, if they took pictures, if they did anything, he likely took that to court. But the reason that setup actually began, and he began to conspire against me, is because of the situation in Memphis and what she said. She made me look like I was doing that. And so that was like the perfect, she planted that seed, you know? And then by her stranding me, she knew exactly what kind of city she was in. Now, that's not to say that he had anything to do with what happened in Memphis. It's because of what happened in Memphis that he felt comfortable with making the decision to set me up in the way that he did. But as time goes on, things started transpiring where I was less, I had less inhibition. So as time went on, if I were to become self-destructive, group sex was a thing. I lost my worth, because it kept happening, and I could not understand. Okay, and for me, I think in the article, for me, the reason that it kept happening is because I was trying so hard not to allow it to define how I interacted with people. Like, I wanted very much to like just be normal and not have like those fears of dealing with certain people, because I've seen this before. Not everybody's the same. And because of that, it caused me to like be overly trusting, because I didn't want to punish people for the shit that I had already experienced. And that really was a detriment. I have yet to heal from that. Of all the things that I think of in regards to trauma, I have yet to get over the assaults. Because those are the things that literally molded my reputation. It was never the actual sex. It was the violation of my body. I have yet to get over it. I work on it every day, but it's very hard. Very hard. And so my message is always just to let people know, especially those who have experienced repeated assault throughout life, it is not your fault. You are not alone, and you will get through it. Make sure that you are talking to the right people, that you're finding the right outlets to cope. At first I didn't know why they wanted me to talk about it, but the reason that I was supposed to talk about it is because the shit in Memphis is what sparked the plan. I wish you would have believed me and not her, you know? You know, we'll be alright. Always, we'll be alright.